So we just use a little bit of powder just to kind of keep the skin dry, and if need be, we can turn the fan on. Just helps keep the moisture away for sweat. But all right, so when we were recording, right? So sugar is it's just a paste. It's sugar, lemon juice, and water. And wax will go on in the direction of growth. They put sometimes a strip of paper, pellin, muslin, or cotton. They rub and they pull opposite hair growth, so the hair is removed opposite. With sugar, we mold into the hair follicle and remove in the normal direction of hair growth. So I'll start down here. We mold into the hair follicle and we pull opposite. Sugar is not hot. The sugar paste isn't hot, so there's no risk of burning the skin. The sugar only adheres to dead skin and hair. It doesn't adhere to live skin cells, making it optimal for the face, bikinis, Brazilians, and underarms. So typically, if people tend to have very sensitive or highly reactive skin, they're probably, sugaring is probably better for them, because it's kind of, it's an all-natural method of hair removal. And at first, the very first time a client comes in for sugaring, it may be a more time-consuming process than wax. Wax is more efficient as far as timing is concerned. You'll get it done probably a lot quicker, maybe. With sugar, I don't have to stop and get more sticks of wax and more strips, so I can just keep going. We use the whole ball of sugar for the whole area. For the most part, this same ball of sugar will last for the whole back. Depending on your client's skin, the drier the skin, the more dead skin and hair we get into the ball of sugar, then perhaps we throw it away and then we get a new ball of sugar. But for the most part, this ball of sugar will last for most of the service. So I don't have to stop. The more and more, as an esthetician, if you're interested in learning sugaring, and it's going to take you a few months to get the technique down. But once you're very confident with sugar, you won't pick up wax again, and it doesn't become that time-consuming of a process. There's a little bit of a learning curve, but not much. The biggest thing to learn, the biggest thing that I think in the very beginning that estheticians we have to get to overcome is the fact that we've got sugar and it keeps flinging up on the back of our hand, and just to keep going and not worry about where the sugar's flinging. But other than that, it's a very, I like the fact that whenever I'm done with the sugaring, I can just use a warm towel to get the sugar off. I don't have to use any kind of oils or wax removers to get little pieces of wax off. The client leaves very soft and smooth, and there's no residue, there's no stickiness. So the other things that, to talk about during a waxing service or during a sugaring service is, after your service, it doesn't matter if you're getting waxed or sugared. After the service, you don't want to get in jacuzzis, whirlpools, swimming pools. No sun exposure for the first 24 hours is the rule of thumbs. Your follicles are open, and it's more or less, the biggest thing is we're concerned about is staph. When I get around in the lakes and oceans and swimming pools and chlorinated water, your follicles are open, so we just have to be mindful to keep the skin clean and dry for the first 24 hours. But you can notice that I've done this whole area so far, and there's not a lot of reaction to the skin. It's not red, it's not bumpy. Every now and then there can be some histamine reaction, and histamine is similar just to getting bit by a mosquito or something. It's your skin's way of responding to something adverse. And it usually dissipates pretty quick. A histamine reaction is going to be little red bumps. It might be a little itchy, but it it doesn't stay for very long. Typically, if you have a client that's got a histamine reaction that lasts for a long time, sometimes they can take a regular strength Benadryl before their service, and maybe they won't have that kind of an issue, but it's very rare to see it. Let's see, I'm thinking of something else. So the difference, I guess the big thing is why, people want to know why is sugar so much better than wax? And it's not that. I like to try to be right in the middle. I'm objective. I like wax for particular reasons, and I like sugar for particular reasons. So I don't necessarily say one's better than the other. But I think that there is something magical about removing the hair in its natural direction of growth. I think when we remove hair opposite hair growth, we may get a lot more hair breakage, and that hair breakage is what causes a lot of the irritation as it's growing back in and the ingrown hairs. The idea is that we want to remove the hair by the root. We don't want to get a lot of hair breakage. The more we get the hair by the root, it refines, it thins out. The hair follicles become, when you get that hair by the root, the inner and outer root sheath, it tends to weaken the follicle wall, and it collapses, and it can't produce a hair for a really long time. So that's where the refinement comes in. Sugaring is not a permanent hair removal method. It is a hair reduction method. It can reduce the amount of hair, but it's not permanent. Okay, so we'll stop for a minute, and then we'll take an after picture.